this
Abhi,
is
sorry
yeah.
to just need a second. Yeah, now go ahead. The recording was in progress. Now it has started. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, okay. So, okay, since the recording just started, I'll just repeat that this session is about kickstarting a successful engineer career. And if you are a new software engineer, if you are a beginner, then this session hopefully will be useful for you. And we will talk about few topics here. So first of all, let me introduce myself. Om already gave some introduction for me. I'll just repeat it that I'm a full stack engineer at Spotify. Right now, I'm working on writing CI pipelines and managing the CI infrastructure for Spotify. I'm not sure whether this is relevant, but I have been working with computers or writing programs. Like I've been working with computers for longer than this, but I've been writing programs for computer since 2003, and have spent professionally as a software engineer like at least 10 years. I can't actually remember the year that I started now. So I've created, I've tried various adventures in software engineering. I've created games, mobile apps, websites, services, microservices, and much more things. So I have also started my own startup, which eventually we had to shut down. Um, then I started writing blogs and started answering questions on Quora, and they made me top writer. This is and if you want to find out more about me, you can follow me on Twitter. I sometimes tweet, not that much, but if you want to talk to me directly, you can always message me on Twitter. I usually check my inbox, Twitter inbox, few days a week. So yeah, this is about me. So let me just give you the agenda of the session that what we are going to talk about. So and before that, I want you to be part of this. So it's not just that I want to just talk. I also want to listen. I also want to have questions from you. I want this session to be interactive. So if you have questions at any moment, you can just ask the questions. So how you are going to ask the question? So if you are not familiar with Google Meet, there is a hand icon at the bottom, which says that when you raise your hand, it shows me that you have raised your hand and you have some questions. So let me just show you how it looks like to me. So I've just raised my hand, and this is how it looks. You can, if I have answered your question, you can lower your hand virtually. I want to hear from you. So you just heard about me, and I wanna probably talk to a few people. So whoever is interested, let's just test this feature, and whoever is interested, just raise your hand and just give a little introduction about you. You can talk about if you are not sure what you're going to talk about, so you can just give your name and what are you working on. So if you are a student, if you are working with a company, or what if you want what you think or hope to gain from this session. And if nobody raises a hand, I will just pick people randomly, so don't think that you will escape this. Okay, I'm waiting.
I think you can
All
pick
right.
the.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick people randomly then. Okay, let's start with who I can see. Oh, people living. All right, let's start with Kuldeep Kaur. You actually don't have to turn your video on. You can just start talking about yourself.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, good
Good
evening.
evening, sir. Myself Kuldeep Kaur, as you know, and I am a student of Tilak Raj Chadda Institute. TIMT Yamuna, and I'm pursuing MCA, Masters of Computer Application.
Nice.
My main agenda is to work in a good MNC, and I have a very good knowledge of HTML, CSS,
Oh,
and my
nice to know
main
you.
motive
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to
Continue, please.
gain some good things from you. That's it.
Cool. Thanks for introducing yourself, Kuldeep, and I hope that you get what you wanted from this session. So, anyone else? Should I again pick someone randomly? Okay, let's try Nishant Singh.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Nishant.
Myself Jain Singh, and I am a front-end intern in eMinds, and I joined this meeting for takes take and as well as gain some knowledge to how can we start our career in this yard.
Cool. Thanks for introducing yourself, Nishant. And I wish the same that you gain what you wish from this meeting. All right, let's just try one more person.
Hello, sir.
Um,
Good evening. Hello.
yeah, hey, Jakit.
Myself Zakir Ansari. I am from Maharashtra. I completed my BCA in 2020. I'm watching and learning videos in React.js. I have good knowledge of
Mhm,
React.js, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. I created a
mhm.
4-5 project myself.
Oh,
I'm looking for job as a in React.js as an intern also. That's it, sir. Thank you.
oh, cool. Thanks for
Give me
introducing yourself,
opportunity.
Jakit. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Give me opportunity.
Yep, sure. So I again hope that you gain more knowledge or more insights about your career by this session. So let's move on. And thanks all the people that have introduced yourself. And again, you can just use the raise hand feature, and I will call you out. And you can ask questions at any times. Okay, don't think that you can't interrupt me. Feel free to interrupt me. The next, I think, next 45 minutes are yours. So feel free to interrupt me. All right, so let's move on. So when you start your career, and as I gained from this gained the information from this introduction that you folks have given, is that you are trying to learn about software engineering and the things like, for example, Zakir have mentioned that he's trying to learn about React and JavaScript and Bootstrap. And this is something like something that I wanted to talk about. So this is my next agenda, is that I want to talk about learning, like learning and the challenges that you face. So there are a few challenges, so I've written down few questions. There can be more. So the challenges is, first of all, what to learn. That is the biggest challenge. And honestly, I still feel this challenge. It's I have spent so many years in this industry, and I still feel this challenge, that what is the next thing that I should be learning, and what are the next things. I don't want to learn something which will be obsolete in, let's say, few years, and then my time is wasted. Or I don't want to learn something new which is nobody uses. So this is something of a balance that I want to have, but this is just me. So I can understand when you feel this daunting questions, that what we should be learning. So I'll talk about this. I'm not gonna tell you what you should learn, just to make it clear. I'm just gonna make it easier for you to find out how you can find out what to learn. So that is one thing. Another, as I mentioned, how to learn. So if you have found what you wanted to learn, what is the next step? How you can learn it? And the next one, probably it's not a big thing for you if you have a lot of time. But people who are working, so for example, if they are preparing for something, if they are already learning something, or if they are working for some companies, it's very hard for them to find out time. This is something probably I will not cover, but if you are interested, you can feel free to ask me your questions, and then we can take from there. The next thing is how to ask questions. So whenever you start to learn, and you are learning by yourself, and you obviously will find some questions, you will have some challenges in learning, and then you will think, like, how can I ask questions, and whom to ask. So this is something that I will try to cover. And the last point is how to keep learning. So it's not that just you, so software engineering, as I knew that whenever whenever you learn something, it's not done. So things keep changing. So software engineering is a very dynamic field. Every day there are a lot of new things which keep on coming. So I'm just as an example, if there is a running joke or kind of a meme, if you are into memes, that every day there is a new JavaScript framework, and it's kind of a horror or a scary thing for an engineer working in a JavaScript domain, to find out that there is a new JavaScript framework from the last time they started seeing about it. So this is definitely a challenge to keep learning about new things. So I will try to cover this point also, that how you can enhance your knowledge, and let's see where what we can learn. So first of all, I'll try to cover what to learn. So there are few things that are kind of challenges when you starting to learn. So first of all, this is the problem that I have personally encountered when I was starting my career. So it's basically what is the path that I should be taking. So deciding the career path, because software engineering is not just one field, it's a mixture of a lot of fields. So you can be, so just as an example, so you can be a web engineer, you can be a game developer, you can be a desktop developer, I don't know what's the term, you can be a system engineer, you can be, even in web, you can work as a React developer, you can work as a on front end, you can work on back end, you can work in infrastructure, you can work in DevOps. So there are so many fields. So when you start, you may not even know about these fields, and even if you know about it, you don't know which one is right for you, or which one would you like. So this is a really challenging thing, and I'll try to talk about this. And next thing is foundation versus domain. So what do I mean by foundation or domain is, so let's say if you you are starting just your career, and you want to know about you want to become a front end engineer, just as an example. So what should you learn? Should you focus on learning the different languages and feature the languages and libraries and frameworks, or you focus on the foundation? So what is the foundation? Like algorithm, data structure, design patterns. So should you learn that, or should you learn the programming languages and frameworks? So this is a challenging thing to find out. Then there are tools. So what do I mean by tools? There can be tools. So for example, let's say Git, it's a really good tool. So should you learn Git? Should you learn about SSH? Should you learn about command line tools? Should you learn about Bash, ZSH, Fish? There are a lot of such shells. Should you learn about cloud computing, for example? Should you learn about Amazon Web Services? So there are a lot of things which will make your life easy. but sometimes you don't know about them. And should you focus on learning those things first? So this is like a kind of a priority thing. So which one should be your priority? So about the first question, like deciding the career path, this is something that I have found very useful. That there are roadmaps for all the career path. So I found one. Let me just give you a brief introduction about this. So this is the one that I have linked. So it's a mind map. This is what people call it. So if you start, so for example, this is just an example of a web development in 2020. So there are, for example, there are tools which I have mentioned here. So what should you learn about them? Basic terminal usage, basic SSH, GitHub, and what are the RESTful services and stuff. Then there is, if you want to go with front end in web development, so you should know about HTML, CSS, responsiveness of the CSS, and even in CSS there are a lot of other things. Then if you go for JavaScript, then there are a lot of things. Like, this is not the exhaustive list. There can be a lot more to learn about JavaScript, and this is just like some examples that where you can start learning. So the idea is that if you start learning all those things, you will know that how you can what are the other things that you need to learn after learning all those things. So this is not done. Like, I'm still learning about JavaScript, even though I have been working for 10 years with JavaScript or even more. So that's completely up to you, that where you wanna go. So this is one. Then if you wanna be serious in front end, then there is a lot of other things. For example, and you can be one of these things. Like, you can have one of these job titles. You can be a software engineer, React developer, web developer, front end developer, JavaScript engineer. So these are just same things, but the point is that you can be you can apply for all these roles once you covered almost all of these things. So just to clarify that even I don't know all of these things mentioned in this mind map. But this is a good idea. In fact, I also find this useful when I stuck. It's like I want to learn something new, but I don't know what to learn now. So these kind of roadmaps actually help me. So there is React.js, there is like front-end build tools, NPM, it's a really good tool, Webpack, Parcel. So there are multiple other things. So this is something that you can always find on internet. So my motive is not to give you the link of this roadmap and let you figure it out for yourself. My motive is that you can find these documents, roadmaps, and other things on internet. And how you can find them, I'll also tell you about this. Like, obviously you can always Google, but how to efficiently find those things and what to focus on. So these kind of mind maps, I'm pretty sure it will be useful. So just take an example of a backend. So there are, again, the roles that you can cover. Then there is let's say scripting languages. So Node.js, Express, it's not a scripting language. Oh, okay. Python, Ruby, PHP, there can be multiple things. Yeah, just as a recommendation, don't learn PHP. It's I don't like this language, but it's up to you. It's just my opinion. Then there are other languages which are like Go, Rust. Go is a really good language. Just as an example, it's developed by Google, and it's kind of so both of these, Go and Rust, are kind of a replacement for C and C++. They are kind of a different, like, obviously the syntax is different and the concept is different, but every language has their own use cases. So if you, for example, go with Go, then it automatically manages the memory for you. Rust does not do that. Rust goes on C path. You have to manually create your memories and stuff. So it's just an example. So, and then another thing is that functional languages. So if you are into functional programming, you can go with one of these languages, which are really good. All of them are really good, although I can't say that I know all of them. Java is a really good language to start with. Then if you go with the path of data, or if you want to do something in data engineering, for example, you want to be a data analyst, you want to be I'm not sure what are the other roles, but I think data analysts and data engineers cover most of them. So you should know about certain databases. So relational databases are there, graph databases, NoSQL databases, message brokers. These are really good things, but that does not mean that you should learn them now. So why you should not learn them now? Because there are other things that you need to cover. So if you go there, you probably should start with the top things. Like for example, start with a language, then go with the things which these languages. So go with the tools, for example. So there are tools. So if you have learned the languages, then you would definitely know about basic terminal usage. So terminal or command prompt, depending on which operating system do you use. You may want to know about SSH. Knowledge of Git is basically necessary once you have covered that first goal of learning a programming language. So these are like, you should know about all these things before not before learning about the programming languages and the path that you want to take, but you should learn them eventually, like whenever you get time and whenever you are probably bored with learning these languages, you can go with that. So this is what I meant by this. So another roadmap that I have found out, like I just found them on internet, and I thought that this would be useful for you guys. So I'll send the links so that you can also have a look and decide for yourself that where you wanna go. So what I like about this particular roadmap is basically it also gives you the resources where you can learn. So for example, if you want to know how the internet works, and honestly, I think that everybody should know about these things, like how actually the internet works. What are the browsers probably that you know, but what is HTTP? What are DNS? How do they work? Domain names and stuff. And this is like, it will probably take you let's say half an hour or probably an hour to learn about it, and that would be pretty useful for you. There are basic tools, so it's like text editors. So this guy has some recommendations. So for example, if you see a purple heart, that means that this person who has created this roadmap prefers this particular language, this particular tool or language or whatever. So Visual Studio Code, I really like that. This is one of my favorite text editor. Browser, you can choose any whichever you wish. You don't actually have to choose Chrome. Terminal, you can go with anything. My favorite is GSH. Then design, if you wanna modify something using design. So for example, Photoshop, Figma is really good. This is one of my favorite. Then about HTML. So this is like the basic HTML shouldn't take you more than an hour to learn. It's the syntax that you need to know about then, and then you can go. Obviously, you can never finish learning HTML itself because it's so vast and it covers a lot of things. But the basic ones shouldn't take you more. So, and just to point out, SEO itself is a completely different field. So that means that it means search engine optimization. So that if you implement SEO, the target is to get your web page at the top of Google search, for example, if you are targeting Google. So why is it important? Because usually, if you can also observe it yourself as well, that whenever you search for something, you only look for the first page, and even on first page, the results that you get, you click on probably the first or second result. So it's not that just a minute. It's not that and if you are creating a website for example selling something, and or e-commerce business basically. So if your website whenever someone is searching for, let's say if you are creating a website for t-shirts, selling t-shirts, and whenever somebody search for, like, let's say t-shirts in Pune, and your website is coming on second page, nobody's going to look at you. Nobody's gonna find that website ever. So this is definitely important for SEO, and it's a completely different field. And it's in itself there are engineers and there are experts who only work on SEO and make a career out of it. So it's not that, like, even there are few things which is something like you can make a career out of just one things. So SEO is one of those things. CSS, if you know about web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, this is like a basic thing that you would encounter. So this is something here. Then once you learn about all those things, like, this is the basic thing that every software engineer should know about, because even if you try to ignore HTML and CSS will try to, you will encounter them sometimes. So yeah, and then when you start to choose, there are like a lot of things. For example, again, there is a front end path here, then there is a back end path. I don't know what are machine learning. If you are interested in it, it's a really good field. Mobile applications, Android, iOS, desktop applications. But one thing is, like, I really believe that this is something that every engineer should know about, soft skills, because people don't actually focus on soft skill. They are like, okay, if I can code, then I can be the best engineer ever. You can be. It's not that you don't need to know about these skills and stuff. You can be a really good programmer, but you won't be able to grow in your career if you don't focus on soft skill. So why do I say this? Sorry. So basically, so one skill, for example, I can take example of teamwork. So if you don't know how to work in a team, you will never be successful. That's that's a kind of a myth that if you can work alone, that means you don't need anyone. The best developers are those who can work by themselves, and they don't need help from other people, or they don't need any other human being to work. So that is not true. Everyone needs help, and everyone is supposed to help. So this is what teamwork is about, and this is the skill that a lot of the new software engineers lack. And this is I can't stress enough on this, because if you are not a good team player, you will your teammates will hate you. Your manager, whoever that is, they will also not like you. You will never get promoted. You will and if you lack other skills as well, you will never be able to find a good job at a good company. Why is that so? Because you need all those skills in an interview. So just as an example, at Spotify, we have a specific interview to check for soft skill. So we call it a values interview. It doesn't mean that we are checking your communication, like how good of an English you can speak. I personally, even I don't speak a really good English, but a lot of my colleagues, they don't speak a very good English. So a lot of them are from places where English is not their first language. So even since I'm working in Sweden, a lot of Swedish people don't know how to speak in English. So that's definitely not a problem if you can't speak in English. It's just one language. If you can communicate well without even knowing a perfect English grammar, that is also enough for you. So, but that is not what we check. We check everything. We check whether you will be a person that we want to work with or not. In that interview, we try to find out, like, if we put you in a difficult position, how will you react? If we put you in, let's say, if your teammate don't agree with you, this is like a basic example that I'm giving you, that the questions that we ask. So if your teammates or your manager doesn't agree with you, but you know that it's a right solution, how would you convince others? This is definitely a really good skill to have, and people usually don't focus on that. They are like, okay, if I know, let's say, C++, I'm a C++ expert, and the world wants me, they can't, like this company really needs a C++ developer. But that does not mean that if you are not a good person to work with, you will be able to get a job. Especially at Spotify, you will not be able to get a job. We like good people, people who are good to work with, and people who are in general nice. That's why, because this actually creates the culture at the team. So I can't stress enough about this. So this is definitely you should know. And I'll tell you how you can learn more about all those things, because obviously I won't blame you if you have never focused on this. But if you want to learn about them, I'll also tell you how you can learn about it. All right. So again, there are like multiple other ways you can go here. So there is a blockchain. If you are interested in that, there is like there are a lot of things that you can learn. So these kind of mind maps, this is just one example. You don't actually have to follow this. I'll anyway give you the link. So you don't actually have to follow this, but just follow if you are finding some trouble in what to learn. So you can just find out one roadmap and try to follow that. That should work. You don't actually, and again, just to reiterate, you don't need to know about all of these things. If you, in fact, I don't know about these things. So for example, just take an example of this module bundler. I don't know about parcel or rollup. I know Webpack, but that doesn't mean that I need to know about all those things. What other things? For example, I don't know Ruby. I don't know a lot about Python. I don't think I've used all of them. I've never used Laravel. I have never used Ruby on Rails. I've probably written a hello world program in Django and Python, Django and Flask. I don't even know what Blazor is. So this is just an example that you don't need to know all of these things to become a really good software engineer. So, all right. So this is how we gonna find out what to learn, right? So this was one example that I wanted to give you. So let's focus more on other questions. So should you go breadth first or depth first? So if you know about this algorithm in for graph traversal, so if you don't know, don't worry. In fact, but you should know. But I'll anyway explain. Breadth first means that should you know about all these technologies in basic details, or should you, for example, learn and become an expert of one thing and then move on to the second thing? So this is the second one, is the depth first. You go deep in one thing, learn everything about that, then you move on to the second thing, and then go deep into the second thing. So personally, I believe whenever you are starting, it's if you have this kind of confusion, always choose breadth first. You need to know about a lot of things and at least what they do. So even if I don't know about, for example, let's give an example of this. So even if I don't know anything about, let's say, MySQL, I need to know that what it does. That's it. How it does it, it's probably you can learn it later. But you need to know what it does. That it's a relational database management system. That's it. That's all you need to know. And then you can move on to anything else. So you need to know about all of these things, that what do they do. So whenever you need, for example, a relational database, this thing can come into your mind, or it should come into your mind that, okay, can I use MySQL here? Because I know that it's a relational database. I need a relational database. So why not go with MySQL or PostgreSQL? But at least you know that MySQL is one option. So you can start to learn about it whenever it requires. And this is actually the best way, and I'll cover it in my next slide as well. This is actually the best way to learn about anything if you start working on it and if you have a use case. So what do I mean by use case? That, for example, if you need to create a website, so you whatever you if whatever course that you follow, and you learn a lot about React, but until you create something yourself, you will not be able to learn it in a really good way. So you create a website, then you are like, oh, I need a web server. I need to store data. So whatever website it is, you definitely will generate some data and you need to store it. Then you need a web server. Then you will, if you know that what a web server is, you will know that, okay, I probably need one. And what are my options? Probably a Node.js server or Express server with it. So you know that, okay, Node.js and Express is one of my option, even if it's not the best option that you have, but at least you know about one option. You can start working on it and then learn. And then even if you choose like, even if it turns out that Node.js and Express is not a really good option, but at least now you know that this is not a really good option for a certain use case. So that should be a really good learning. So this is actually another thing that we check, and we have a separate interview round for this, which we call system design. So in system design, we ask you to create a system. For example, just if you will have to create, let's take an example of Google Meet. So if we give you the task of creating Google Meet, how will you create it? What would be your architecture? Like, we are not asking you to program it or write your code. We are just asking what are the things that you will use among these. Like, which programming language will you choose? Which cloud computing engine that you would choose? Which database you will choose? And this is definitely a really good thing about these things, about the engineers. Whenever they come to us and they say, oh, I want to use MySQL here, but since in this use case, MySQL will not be a good option because of this particular reason. And when they say it, it's like it's a really good positive point for them, that they know that what this particular tool lacks. So this is definitely something that you may want to know. All right, and yeah, feel free to ask questions. I can speak and forget about that. I'm speaking to humans, and they may have some questions. So feel free to raise your hand and interrupt me. All right. So the next thing is, once you know, wait a minute. Yeah, once you know how what to learn, how you can learn it. So YouTube is a really good example, but I have a trick and I want to share it with you. It's not a secret trick or something, but if you know, I mean, YouTube is owned by Google and you need a Google account to access YouTube. So one trick is that YouTube, whenever you search for something, if you are searching for, let's say, the latest song from Badsha, so YouTube's algorithm know that you are interested in Punjabi music or rap music or whatever the category is. So YouTube knows about it, and then it tries to give you a lot more similar results. And when you start using YouTube for learning about software engineering, that means it gets confused. It gives you both of these things. It creates some sort of mind map that this particular person is interested in Badsha as well as JavaScript. So it will give you both of those things. So one neat trick is, if you want to learn, create another Google account, which you will use only for learning about software engineering. So So I have this account. So let me give you an example, and I'll show you my YouTube. Wait a minute. So if you can see, you will see only about software engineering. There is nothing else here. Why? Because I have dedicated this Google account to just search about software engineering things. And as you can see, there is no song from Badshah. And that doesn't mean that I don't listen to songs from Badshah, or other songs, but I don't use this account for that. So you will never see the recommendation about all those Bollywood songs. So this is a very neat trick that you can teach the YouTube's algorithm that you are not interested in all those things, at least in this account. So you can, and plus one thing is that you can always change your account from here or from here. So you can have, like, as you can see, I have multiple accounts. So this is a really good way of teaching the YouTube's algorithm. And sometimes whenever I'm thinking of learning something and I have no idea what to learn, I just open YouTube and it gives me a lot of options. So for example, let's see, Spring Boot. So I don't know a lot about Spring Boot, and I just found this good looking video about it. So I may just watch this and try to learn about Spring Boot. And there is another thing. There is a lot of things. For example, service workers. So why not learn about service workers? So this is just an example how you can. This is just one more example of how you can find out things to learn. So if you want to use this trick, it's a really good one. So YouTube is a really good option. There are other options which are called MOOC, massively open. Shit, I forgot the complete name. What was it means? But it's called MOOC or something. So this is one example is Coursera. There is a more example, for example, EDX. So let me just give you the example from Coursera, and I really like it. Coursera. Let's see. Most of the courses here are free, and in fact, even if they are not free, you can always at least watch them for free. If you need a certification or something, they ask you to pay some money. But if you are not interested in certification at all, you can just learn for free. So there are a lot of courses here. So if you want to know about data science, if you want to know about, let's say, computer science, there are a lot of courses. If you want to learn about front end, for example, so there are courses and they are almost always free. So you can always go there and learn about all those stuff. MDN, if you are interested in the web development at all, MDN is a really good tool. So let me just show you what it looks like. So this is something that if you are into front-end web development, this is the thing that you should always follow. So there are a lot of guides here. So if you go into this, you can just start here, learn web development, and it will tell you a lot of those things. And frankly, this is the best resource that you can have to learn about web development in general, or front-end web development especially. Even if you are interested in backend web development, few of those things will actually be useful for you. So there is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and if you want to know about a specific thing, so for example, if you want to learn about accessibility, you can definitely go here and learn about, let's say, what is accessibility, how can you make something more accessible, and there are videos as well. So it's a really good portal where you can find a lot about front-end web development. Then Stack Overflow. So Stack Overflow is one of my favorite thing. You can always ask questions there, and if you see my profile, you can see that I have been a member for last almost 10 years here. And I like the questions, like you can basically search for example, if you are interested in, let's say, Node.js or React, whatever. So you can just see what are the questions which are the frequently asked or the most asked question or the most popular question. So you can, for example, if you want to know about package JSON, this is a really good tool to learn about things. And this is also one of the best places that you can ask questions. And I can't stress enough about the skills that that you will gain by learning to ask questions here. Stack Overflow is a very challenging place if you don't know how to ask questions, because people can be really rude here. But the only thing which matters is that when you ask question, they actually give you the guide here. See, so there is a guide on what to ask questions, and if you can ask and answer your own questions or not. There are a lot of guides here. Where are these? No, not this. Oh, that's here. So help center is really good way to learn how to ask question and what are the things that you should not ask. And if you follow this guide and if you learn that skill on how to ask questions on Stack Overflow, you will definitely not ever have any problem with any sort of challenge. You will learn a lot of this thing, and this skill will not be useful only on Stack Overflow. This skill will be useful when you want to ask people, that you make your questions objective. You don't create open-ended questions. So these are the things that these are the skills that that will be really useful for you. And this is one of the soft skill that I really like. I really like when people know how to ask questions on Stack Overflow. So this is one. Podcast. So this is one of my favorite way to learn about anything. So you can choose any of the podcast client. So there are a lot of them. For example, there is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify has podcast as well. If you are interested, and they are free, by the way. So you can download one of these clients and subscribe to podcast about things. So the podcast will not tell you about for example, if it's on web development, it will not tell you the feature of React JS or something. It will tell you about new technologies. It will tell you about what you can learn next, or it will also tell you about they will discuss, they will talk. And frankly, these talks you will gain a lot from those talks. Why? Because these are experts talking about a particular topic, and you will not listen this talk if you are not in the vicinity of an expert. So this is definitely a really good place. Meetups, that's the next one. And I hope you have already started with this, because this is a meetup kind of webinar. So meetups are really good, and it used to be really good when you actually can go to a physical place and talk to people. So you get a lot of networking opportunity. Okay, this person works in this company that I always wanted to work in, and then you can just talk to that person, get to know about them, and probably they will refer you to their company. So it's a really good way to learn about new things and create connections, or you can be interested in actually the talk that is happening, and you can learn something. All right, so I have already covered Stack Overflow here, but there are other ways as well. So for example, mentors. So Happy to Help is a really good place, but it's not the only place. You can find a lot of mentors online. There are even paid mentors that you can pay money and ask them to guide you or mentor you in your journey. So although I would suggest that you start with Happy to Help, because we are free, we don't charge any kind of money. And Stack Overflow, I've covered. Slack. So there are some Slack and Discord channels where you can just join and ask questions. And I have found them to be really useful when you start to learn about it and learn about something new, and when you have questions that you can't ask on Stack Overflow, because as I said, Stack Overflow can be a very difficult place. And this is not this is if you don't feel comfortable asking things in Stack Overflow, you can always chat about it in Slack or Discord. So you can definitely find the links of those channels or groups on the internet. You just need to search for it. All right, so I think I'm kind of out of time here. I wanted to cover more things, but I prefer that instead of covering all those things and talking about it, I take your questions. If you have any questions at all about starting your career, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can type in if you don't want to ask, maybe you can type in if you have any questions.
Sorry, I have not been seeing the chat messages. Okay, no question there.
Yeah. Anybody?
So if you don't have questions, so one of my mentor used to say this thing, that if you don't have question, either you understood everything or you didn't understood at all. So which one is it?
Yeah. People are silent. They're still in college, Abhi. Probably they're too shy. Probably that could be one reason.
Don't be shy about it, man. It's like it's an opportunity to ask questions, and I'm not saying that you should ask question to me only, but it's a really good skill when you learn how to ask question. Oh, we have a question from Kuldeep. If you want to learn React, can you tell me a good platform where to learn? Yeah, as I said, YouTube is a really good option. So if you go here and search about React, let's see. There is an entire channel dedicated on React. I'm not sure whether it's about React. I don't think it's a React thing. Okay, kids react to fax machines. No way. So there is, for example, this one, React.js crash course. Start with this. And
yeah,
this one I really like, this channel, Traversy Media. So if I can tell you, I don't want to play a video or anything. Yeah, so this is a really good channel. Let me just give you the link on the chat so that you can also see about it. And I really like these guys. They have a lot of courses. So for example, there is HTML crash courses, and I like their crash course series. And I have probably used it. I tried to learn Vue.js by this, although I never got a time. And yeah, this should be a really good place. Other than that, if you want to learn about React, it's really good way to basically just go to the React.js website, and there must be a tutorial. See, so this tutorial, first, whenever you want to learn about something, always go to their official website and try to see if you can find something in their guides. So these are kind of beginner level guides, but they will be something where you can start, and then after that you can move on to something advanced by going taking some course or something. But always start with their official documentation. All right, I can see more questions. One question is from Dheeraj. Full stack web development, basically MERN stack guidance. Oh yeah, so MERN stack is really good one. And as I've told before, or probably I haven't, but you actually didn't need to know about the entire stack. You don't need to be a full stack developer all the time. Start with one thing. So if you, for example, starting with web front end development is a really good place. Learn about this and then move on to something. But as mentioned in MERN, the N stands for Node.js, and Node.js is a really good tool to learn about, even if you are interested in front end, because a lot of the tooling is built around Node.js. So if you want to use Webpack, it's built around Node.js. If you want to use React in its full capacity with the packages and stuff, Node.js is a really good option to learn if you are interested in front end. And even if you are feeling trouble about which languages or which stack to follow, I can recommend JavaScript to anyone. I used to hate JavaScript because I personally don't like the language. because it's not really it's too open, and it makes you feel it promotes to make mistakes. So there are a lot of things that you need to take care of, and it's very hard to write a really good code in JavaScript. But my opinion changed when I started using TypeScript. So if you want to use JavaScript at all, learn to write your code in TypeScript, not directly in JavaScript. And this would be the really good useful skill that you can have. TypeScript basically makes you more disciplined. All right. Another question from Devansh is, I'm a beginner in programming. I want to start my career in Python as data analyst. Which tool and roadmap should I use? So if you want to be a data analyst, so one of the skills is obviously the programming language Python. Python is a really good language to start with. Although in our company we use Python and Scala as the languages that data people use. The main thing is that you should, I'm not a data analyst, but I have heard this from a lot of my colleagues who are data analysts, is that they love data. They love spreadsheets of data. They love databases, and if you see data, and if you can see that you can correlate data. So for example, I can't think of an example. I'm not a data guy, but if you can correlate one part of data to another part, this is a really good skill to have. So to become a data analyst, you should love data, and obviously you should know about the tools. So for example, databases are really good tool to have. And one of the tools that we use and in our data teams are BigQuery. So if you know about SQL, you know like at least 80% of BigQuery already. So this is not a very light thing to consider, that SQL is a really good option if you wanna go into data field. So learn more about SQL, relational databases, for example, MySQL and Postgres. Postgres is really good. We use a lot of Postgres in our production services. MySQL, we don't use that much, but it's not a bad tool. It's basically just we like Postgres more. So if you want to know about it, learn about databases, learn about SQL, definitely. It's a really good skill to have. I can't say I'm an expert in SQL, but it's a, if you want to go into data analyst field, SQL it is. All right, I'll take few more questions. I've already covered React.js, so I guess I've answered you, Zakir. Then another question is from Sheikh Zubair. I'm beginning in front end. I want to start in JavaScript and React.js, but how to learn in React proper platform? Yeah, as I said, like start with JavaScript, TypeScript, and this is the official tutorial. That's the best place to start with. And then if you still feel that, okay, you want to learn more, you have already learned everything from these guides, go on YouTube and search for it. And as I said, like follow this guy. His username is TechGuyWeb. So sure, start with this. All right. Ambuj has question about backend programming. Which languages will be most suitable? So I can't pick one language, because any programming language can be used on backend. So I can't say which one you should choose. My personal favorite is obviously JavaScript, because that's what I have been coding in, but you don't need to do that. And JavaScript is one language where you can actually write anything in it. So any kind of field. So even if you are going into data, you can always write Node.js code there. Yeah, if you are going in backend, you can write Node.js web servers using Express. If you are creating something for desktop, you want a desktop application, then you can use Electron with Node.js and JavaScript. You can definitely write things in front end. So this is a really good language if you want to learn the full stack thing. But if you are interested, and if you are serious about backend, that you wanna know about backend only, and you are not interested in anything else, then I can say Java is a really safe choice. At Spotify, most of our services are written in Java, and like it's used everywhere. Even if they are trying to use the modern languages, for example, Go and stuff, there is always some services written in Java. Or unless they are into Microsoft stack, then it's Node .NET. But I don't like .NET that much, and very few companies actually work on Microsoft stack because it's expensive. So Java is always a safe choice if you are going to backend. But if you wanna if you want to target startups or new companies or some with some really good culture, Go is something that everyone is demanding. Go and Rust, and you do, it's kind of you may not find a lot of jobs with that, but it's the kind of the language of the future or something. So it's definitely better than Java, but Java is the safe choice. So Oracle, I don't see a question here. It's a good tool, but Oracle is paid software, so why not use let's say Postgres? So another question from Devansh, from where can I learn Python and few small projects to start? If you are looking for projects, you can follow Coursera for that. They have a lot of projects, and they have a lot of courses on Python as well. So probably that's where you can start. So for example, this is just an example. If you are interested in machine learning, they have some projects. So you can start with Coursera probably. Udemy is really good option. Although it's the courses are paid one. So if you can pay money, sure, it's really good. I mean, even if you are paying money, it's worth it. And as someone asked me first, like few weeks ago or something, I can't remember that why would you pay money if there is free stuff available? So paid courses are always better and always more targeted and always in depth, because people who are creating it, they also need to eat and something. And if you pay them money, then they will spend more time and create more quality content. And it's whatever you are paying for those courses, it's always less than what you have paid for your colleges. So, and they will be more useful than your college education. So pay away if you can afford it. If you cannot, there are free courses always. But if you start learning, invest in your education. That's the best investment that you can make. All right. If we want to make a project in web, how to start it? Take example of any website. Create a clone of Twitter, for example. That's the best place to start. And I can say that when I started web development, I actually copied a lot of websites. I started copying, for example, Google web page. That's where I started. So just try to copy, not actually copy their code or something. Try to create something similar to them, and that should be a really good start. For web, it's very easy to just see because it's visual. So it's a really good way to start. Django or Node.js, Express.js, which is better? They both are really good. If you are interested in Python ecosystem, Django is something you can start, or Flask. I like Flask more. Django is kind of a very heavy thing, and it has a lot of features, but sometimes you don't need all those features. Flask is really lightweight. And same thing I can say about Express. Express has a lot of feature, but if you are looking for something lightweight, Quora.js is a really good example, or Happy. I really like Happy. The ecosystem is really good and it's very lightweight and fast. So, but you can never go wrong with Express or Django, for example. So choose any. It doesn't matter. And don't always look for the best option. Learn anything. If you like it, that's the best option for you. How to do database connectivity without using PHP in it, because I don't want to learn PHP. Yeah, please don't learn PHP. It's not dead, but it's considered legacy, and it's very hard to write good code in PHP unless you are using frameworks like Laravel, or along with the new PHP. I think it's PHP 7. But please don't learn PHP. It's not a really good language to start with. And everybody is moving away from PHP. So if you want to learn about database connectivity, choose any language. Like you can write Node.js code and connect with any database. So for example, if you want to connect with MySQL, so just go into npm.js. It's the first package that I encounter, and search for, let's say, MySQL. If you want to connect to MySQL, there is a driver. Learn about this library, download this package, npm install MySQL, and there is an example. This is how you can connect to MySQL databases. And if you have any other database, for example, MongoDB, there is a driver for that as well. You can search for that, MongoDB. And this is the official driver, but I like Mongoose more because it's an ORM, but you can choose any. All right, I'll take these questions, and then probably, because we are already out of time. So Zakir has a question. I create some copy of projects like Amazon clone online front page. Yeah, sure. It's a really good way. Like you will learn a lot about data and how to manage the data or state for a page. So for example, you will create one page which can show all the products. So you will have to change the state of the page to load different product at the different times. So it's a really good example. Sir, is Android developer good for future, or I should have knowledge of web also? Yeah, I didn't cover this, but please don't call anyone sir. It's not 19th century anymore. So call people by name. If people force you to call them sir or ma'am, that they are not really good people. So don't do that. All right. So Android development. I started my professional programming career with Android development, and I am really glad that I did that. I really like Android development, although it's like I'm interested more into other things, and I wanted to try other things, so that's why I moved on. But Android development is a really good way. We have a lot of requirements for Android developers at Spotify, and it's always there. So if you are interested, you can, and this is a really good way to learn. So what was I typing? So if you want to learn something, and if you have a target about a company. So for example, if you want to join Spotify, and if you are interested in, let's say, Android development or mobile app development, so you can just go here and search for Android or any other company. I'm not saying that you should always like target Spotify or something. So if you go here, you can actually see what we require. So what should you know about Android development to apply for this job? And it does not mean that you should know all the things that is mentioned in any job posting. If you know 70 or 80% or even half about the things mentioned, you can definitely apply. So at Spotify, we believe that anyone can, if you are a good developer, you will learn anything. I'm in an infrastructure team, platform infrastructure team, and I had no idea about Java services. And right now I am writing Java services most of the time. They didn't check me, or they didn't interview me for Java position. They hired me as a front-end developer, and I'm writing Java code. So, and as far as I can see, they are not unhappy with me. So that worked out for them and for me. So that does not mean that you can apply for any kind of position. And most of the good companies actually just have one position, software engineers. And they will take you as long as you know one language, any kind of language, and you can write good code on that. And that's why that's one of the reasons to learn about algorithm and data structures, so that you can clear interviews. But at Spotify, we don't focus a lot on that. We focus on actual domain knowledge and actual experience that you have. More than the data structure and algorithm. And that does not mean that we will not ask you a question about data structure and algorithm, but we will not focus on just one things. So it's a really good thing to know about. And if you are into interviewing at really good companies, try learning more about data structure. So it's a really good example. If you can just start with lead code, solve some questions and see, you will like if you are starting in Python, for example, you can just I'm not signed in, but yeah, there are really good code challenges here. Try some easy ones. That should be enough. You don't need to go into hard questions and stuff. All right, so we were talking about this. So there are, what do you need to know? So we write most of our Android code in Kotlin, but even if you know Java, that should be good enough. You can always learn Kotlin. It's not that difficult. Custom views, you should know. Client-side networking, that means you should be able to call web services or some API from your Android app. You should know about Android development tools like Android Studio, for example, or Gradle. WebSocket or PubSub, huge plus. That does not mean that you need to know about it, but if you know, that's a huge plus. Declarative or reactive programming, if you know, we do use it. We use RX Java, I think. So if you know about that, it's a really good thing. But if you don't know, it's not that difficult to learn. So you can still apply for that. All right. Some tips about interview in React.js. Main point for interview. It depends on the company, man. It's it depends on company whether they are focusing on just the Android code, or are they focusing on more on your foundation knowledge. So good companies actually focus on both, and startups usually does just go for knowledge of a domain. So for example, React. So if you know about JavaScript, and that's from the interviews that I take in Spotify for front-end development position, we use React.js a lot. In fact, most of our code is in front-end code is in React.js and Next.js, basically React and Next. That's what we use. But but we never interview people on React.js. Like, you will not write a single line of code of React in your interviews. You will write a lot of JavaScript or TypeScript if you prefer. In fact, if you write your code in TypeScript, we will like you. So if you wanna interview for React.js, know about JavaScript basics, and specifically about event loops and the asynchronous programming, for example, promises and callbacks and stuff. That's something that a lot of JavaScript developer lacks. That they just know about React.js. They don't know about JavaScript in general. So focus more on learning these, because React.js is tool. Some companies may use Angular, or some company may use Vue, or something new which will come in next 5 years. Who knows? That does not mean that JavaScript will go away. JavaScript will always be there. So you should know about the language and things that you can use without using those libraries and frameworks. So focus on that, and try to create anything in pure JavaScript if you want to prepare for interviews. All right. This should cover. Okay, I'll take the one last one from Devansh. We want to be expert in one thing only, or should we use another approach to gather knowledge about some other things? As I said, like, go breadth first, not depth first. If you go breadth first, that means you try to know about all those things that are available, and then probably focus on just one thing and go into deep, but have some knowledge that what other things do. So just take an example of the previous question. Like, even if you go with Express.js, you should also know that Django is already there. If somebody says what Django does, you should know that it's a web server and a replacement of Express. So why you are using Express? Probably you may not know that, but you should know that there is an alternative if you can't use Express, and if you have to use Python. So this is just one example. All right, and I'll give you the roadmap. In fact, for this, I can just, it's available. So here you go, Kuldeep. I'll also share this slide so that you can know about things. I haven't covered a lot of other things that I wanted to cover. So for example, how to choose companies and stuff, but probably some days later. I think I'm done here, Om. too out of time.
Yeah, yeah. It was really great session, Abhishek, and thank you all for joining. I would like to give a last tip. I think Abhishek already covered everything end to end. So I'm hiring a lot of freshers and laterals and interns, and like I've also seen most of the industry. And what I would say is, as a fresher or as a beginner or even as a lateral, you should focus on three things. First is your attitude. You should bring a lot of energy to the table. You should be passionate about whatever you're doing, whatever you're good at, and you should be open to explore and learn new things. You shouldn't be rigid that, okay, I know Java, this is what I want to do, or I know React, this is what I want to do. Second is, after that, aptitude. Like Abhishek spoke about Lead Code, that is one of the best platform to learn about the aptitude. I mean, you have to learn the problem solving skills. So it's like a mathematics, right? So when you are into programming or coding, you have to focus on how you can enhance your aptitude skills, how you can basically optimize on your problem solving skills. So that is second. And the last is your skill, meaning whatever you know, like Java or JavaScript or TypeScript or React, whatever you're good at. But focus on fundamentals. Like Abhi said, like they write React a lot, but they don't ask React in an interview. Reason is they want to know your fundamentals. Basically, if you know all the basics, if you're good at data structure, algorithm, how you write the code, your design patterns, all that they will test, right? So if I want to be hired, I would work on my attitude, my aptitude, and then my skills. So this is what tip I have for you guys. And I mean, again, we'll come up with the next session. I think there's a lot which Abhishek could have covered, but probably the time was a limit. So yeah, we'll probably plan some other day. But thank you all for joining. You can always reach out to us. I mean, there's an email. I've shared the website link. We are on different platform. Abhishek has shared his Twitter handle. We'll share all the data on the meetup. So we'll share the recording, we'll share the slide, and you can always comment on the meetup group. We'll try and address all those queries. Our intent is to help all the freshers, youngsters to follow their dreams, whatever you want to learn, whatever career you want to make out of your life. So we are here. We'll try our level best to help you all. So once again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Abhishek, for taking time out. I know. So thank you so much for that. And I hope others got some inputs, some insight, some tips, and I hope it will help them follow their dreams. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. Bye.
Cool. Thanks you all. And feel free to contact me anytime on Twitter or using mentoring group. So yeah, thanks for giving me your time. See you later.